Here's just a very simple little recipe. You can use any kind of ingredients. It just kind of gives you an idea. It's a nice little veggie burger. Very, very simple thing to make. Going to make most of it in the food processor, so no need for too much chopping or things like that. Nice little selection of veg. One of the unusual ingredients I'm using here is runner beans. That's because I could get runner beans, but they're not essential by any stretch of the imagination. And even some defrosted frozen peas would work in place of those. Just putting them in at the end, just to kind of give a little bit of texture and things like that. Again, I'm a believer in using whatever veg you can get. Anyway, without kind of going on too much, very simple recipe this. Food processor. I'm going to first of all add a beetroot, a half onion, half a pepper, my carrots, courgette. So all those kind of raw veg. I'm going to keep the beans till the end, just as I would with the peas if I use peas as well, and just kind of mix them through just to have more texture in the whole dish. I'm going to put a pinch of salt in there, a little bit of pepper, give them a quick mixing. That's all it takes. Saves so much time these food processors instead of trying to do all this by hand. And you get that nice texture. The beetroot gives a lovely red into this as well. Now next up, tin of chickpeas. I've taken off the water, but I have retained some in case they needed more extra water. I've taken off about 3/4 of the water. I left about a quarter there. The chickpeas in there. I'm also going to use a tablespoon of tomato paste. And also a tablespoon of smoked paprika. It kind of gives a nice kind of smokiness to the burger, kind of gives more kind of familiar tasting profiles. Give those a little bit of mix up then again. Now, you'll almost find that this is almost taken on a kind of a consistency similar to minced meat, hence that little bit of beetroot in there. But again, from a health perspective, and for me anyway, some people might have no problems with red meats and so on. Yeah, I love them, but I can't eat much of them, unfortunately. Now, next, I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons of, about 2 tablespoons of gram flour. Gram flour is a wonderful binding agent. It's a chickpea, it's just a ground chickpea flour, very high protein flour. Give those a little bit of a mix around, and if you don't mix it first, it tends to get everywhere. Now you'll find that the gram flour is very efficient at just soaking up all of those juices and makes it quite dense. Well, not too dense. So now I'm going to just take this out. Take this food processor out of the way. And with my beans, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to transfer this mixture . I'm going to transfer it into a nice sized bowl. going to take my runner beans, just lightly washed, up and down. And then just give them a quick slice up and just mix them through by hand. There'll be a nice kind of freshness in through the dish, and generally just making it a little bit more interesting as well. But as I said, some thawed out peas would work perfectly well here. Give those a little mix around. And then it's a case of, actually, one thing I forgot is I forgot to get herbs. So I'm just going to run out to my garden, have a look what herbs are there, and then pop those in there as well. But as you can see, it's a case of just putting in things, so I'll be back in 1 second. So, having run out to my garden very quickly, I've just picked a little selection of herbs as well. Again, play with this, you know, I'm using a little bit of sage, just a small little bunch, sprig of rosemary. You don't want to overdo the rosemary, it's quite a powerful herb. I'm just going to take the rosemary off its central stalk, plenty of sage, and then a little bit of fresh oregano. But again, if you only could get parsley, or you could put basil in here, it doesn't really matter, put anything at all. It's just a case of just playing around and just mixing through things. Now another thing you'll find is, as you let this mixture stand for a few minutes, the gram flour is very good and very efficient at soaking the moisture in. However, if you find that the gram flour, if it's still a little wet, your mixture, and you can't really form it up that well, and that's going to vary because different vegetables are going to have different moisture contents and things like that. And sometimes with kukri, I can never really give a truly accurate measurement. Especially with bakery, you can. The ingredients are a lot more uniform and things like that. But when you're talking about one carrot and another carrot, or a courgette, there could be slightly different moisture contents and the like. So if you find that this mixture is a little on the wet side, you can't easily form it into a nice little pate, then it's just a case of add a little piece more of the gram flour. It's a very forgiving flour, it's quite tasty, and it's very easy to just add a little in until you get a kind of a slightly more dense mixture. Not solid by any stretch, it should be nice, but nice and workable. Think a burger patty, for want of a better description. Then having mixed that, you can have a little taste. Side of it needs a tinge more seasoning. A little bit more pepper. And then what I'm going to do is just lay them out. I'm going to put them on silica mat just to kind of let them settle for a little while, for want of a better description. And let them form into these nice kind of, and then into nice kind of burgers, burger pates, burger kind of shapes. And then I'm going to just pop those in the fridge and let the chickpea flour kind of settle a little bit. And for all intents and purposes, they just look like a nice big burger. And because you're using chickpea flour as well, these will freeze quite well as well. You could lightly cook them first, but you'll get these nice big, thick bean vegetable burgers. I guess you could give these to kids and they wouldn't even know the difference. So we'll just form those up and then into the fridge. Let them stand for about an hour inside a refrigerator, and you'll find that they're quite forgiving to cook. A great place to cook these is actually in an air fryer as well, in an oven, or else you can just grill them or fry them. Well, grilling is a bit trickier because they'll want to fall through the thing, but through the grill racks. And just kind of divide plate those up. I like to not have them too neat looking, and just as a nice kind of normal burger. And all that's left is let those rest for a little while, and then it's only a case of cooking them. And just have a little look at those pâtés when they're formed up. As you can see, very, very traditional burger, like only for packed with vegetables. So having allowed my burgers to just relax in the fridge for a little while, as you can see, they actually look very, very meat-like, but they're just beans. That beetroot brings it up quite nicely. I'm just going to give them a very, very light drizzle of olive oil. That's all they need, just a little drizzle. And then I'm going to pop these, I'm going to cook them in the oven. Air fryer, if you're using an air fryer, just put them on a little piece of greaseproof paper and rest them in the air fryer. Or you could pan fry them and cook them in the pan like normal, but my oven is on there, so the oven is a nice, convenient way of doing it. Good hot oven. So I'm going to pop those in now and let them cook. Oh, oven set at 190 degrees, and I'm guessing about 15 minutes, but I'll give an exact when they come out.